You're listening to the Life in General podcast with Tom and Jaye. An hour of informative commentary on today's headlines, current events, and what's going on around the world and around the corner. And now, here are your hosts, Tom and Jaye Darden.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Life in General podcast here with Tom and Jaye. This is episode 33 coming at you, hot and heavy from Playas, Ecuador, and from Hendersonville, Tennessee. We're going to start this episode off the same way we do every time. We hope you all are doing fantabulous out there. 39 subs. We love you all. It's fantastic.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
When we hit triple digits, we'll just shut the stream off because we know that we've peaked. So, or shut the podcast down. So, we do really appreciate all of your support and sticking with us. So, let's start us off. Ask the man of the hour how he's doing down there in sunny paradise while we all freeze our balls off up here. So, hey, Dad, how are you?
I'm doing excellent. It is 80 degrees down here right now. A little overcast. Sorry that you're freezing. With a little ocean breeze. So we're doing very well today.
You would assume that would get boring at some point in time, right? Like Tom reporting in, it's sunny and beautiful. Screw you.
Every
and
day.
It's like, hey, wait, what's going on here?
Every day it's like that. Every day. It doesn't change. 365, it's like that. It actually was raining this morning when I got up at like 6:30. It was sprinkling, which is
my violin for you.
Well, it's very unusual because it's not the rainy season. The rainy season here is January and February. So for it to be sprinkling, there must have been some kind of, it might have been global warming, or some,
Sir,
okay,
it
whatever.
is no longer called global warming. It is called climate change to better encapsulate everything that's happening, because when you look at certain studies, the Earth has cooled off a little bit since things have started being recorded and whatnot. So kind of wild out there.
Excuse me.
Hey, yeah. This is being recorded. We got to get everything right all the time. We can never be wrong.
Right.
Never have an opinion that isn't
somebody will
factually
play this shit back like 5 years from now and go, man, these two knuckleheads, they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, they'll take the editing thing and just smash our heads together, with our two little photos there. So that'll be kind of wild.
Got to send some prayers out to the people, tornado that came through y'all's area up there. I think it started in Arkansas and went through Missouri and then came down through Kentucky and into Tennessee. That's very ugly.
That was a wild experience. There aren't many times when you boys woken up by phone calls, neighborhood watches, weather services, and just literally everything that could have warned me. Thank goodness for technology and people and thoughtful folks and stuff like that. And our hearts go out, man. That was wild. And people
Patricia
with children and stuff, even that was something that my buddy and his wife and their two kids, all the praise goes out to them, man, because it was something that we were sitting there having a beer, a couple nights ago, and he said his wife was starting to freak out a little bit. Well, of course they have children. Well, you have to be strong for the kids' sake, no matter what. Right. And that to me was something that, I mean, it was incredible because of his resolve and her resolve and keeping their kids happy and stuff and keeping them lighthearted and unafraid. And I mean, man, I couldn't imagine. Well,
Patricia has two sons that live in Bowling Green. And luckily for her, neither one of them were affected. Stuff happened close by. They happened close by, both of them. Yeah. And where one of them works, he had a lot of damage at Hobbytown in Bowling Green. But one son, Rodney, that's been on here with us before, he was out of power for like 2 days.
Oh my!
And so I was joking with Pat last night. I said, he needs to get some. He's got candles and sandwiches or something like that. Well, we woke up this morning, and about 15 minutes after we woke up, the power went out.
At your place?
Our place, the whole neighborhood.
Okay, there you
went
go.
out in the whole neighborhood. And I was like, should have been quiet. So, because it was out. We rode into town after about 3.5 hours of the power being out. Sure. We had some stuff to do. So we went into town and it was out when we left, but it was back on when we came back. So
I was going to say, it'd be something where it'd be kind of like Castaway for you all. Just walk out to the beach, get your sandals out, get your little spears, and just start fishing out there. Or like Sisto, get your bottle, get your fishing line, get your hooks, get your Gatorade bottle, and just start going. So
go out waist deep and have a time, right? Yeah.
Yes, and hope that you're not whipping that thing around and it just goes right in your face, man. That was my only concern about going out there and fishing with a Gatorade bottle and line and a hook, with fresh squid, fresh shrimp as bait, catching a little catfish. That's just silliness is what that is.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought? But
that's crazy deal.
Hopefully they'll get all the help they need and they'll get everything squared away. But prayers to the families.
If there is a link out there to anybody wants to make a comment on this video, or on the Facebook group, we would be more than happy to link out a charity. If there's something out there, a fundraiser, a GoFundMe, whatever you have out there, folks, let us know. Be more than happy to get that link out to people and spread the word there, because they, just like Dad said, they need all the help they can get. God bless them. And it has been and will continue to be a hard time for them. So we thank you all for out there for giving. And speaking about giving, thanks again for Pat for coming on last week. That was super exciting, and that is just a wild story with Santa's Forgotten Heroes. And from what I hear and what I'm seeing, it's just been a year like no other in terms of people giving and people volunteering, and it's just been incredible. Am I correct in that assumption?
Yes. The packing day was this past Sunday, and they went to the Wendy's in Gallatin and just took over the dining room. But the donations and stuff were just pouring in. So now it's all in storage. I think they've got the local Starbucks, I think in Gallatin, is furnishing them a storage unit.
Oh wow, there you go.
For the week that they need, or the few days, 6 days, whatever, till this Saturday.
That's cool.
When they pass them all out. But there was a huge turnout with the donations and the people helping. Thank you to all the people that were helping do all the packing and stuff like that. So it turned out really cool. Really big awesome. Deal.
That is wonderful.
So hopefully they'll get a whole bunch of good stuff. So hopefully the weather will hold out. I've been watching that, Yeah,
so. we did a little pre-show there where we got to try to figure out what's going on with the weather and what it's going to be like, because heaven forbid, that there's rain that day to stifle any sort of the plans that everybody has, and or if it rains.
Be a lot of people on the porch.
Right. Yeah. If it rains, let it rain early, or make sure there's a Goodwill close by to start buying out all those umbrellas for sure.
Yeah. Or pop-ups or something. Yeah. They've done 9 years and had good weather every year. Some years were really cold, but that's what it's all about. It's December.
Right.
That's what it's supposed to be.
Well, so and there were some years that it was
very
wet,
fortunate.
But it rained beforehand, stopped like for just long enough to get everything passed out, get everybody ready to go.
Yeah, that's right.
And then
hopefully
it was pretty good. But
hopefully it'll work out. Looking forward.
Oh yeah.
To this Saturday and seeing how it all works. That'd be great. Hope we'll get a lot of pictures. I hope. Maybe some film footage or something.
That's the thing. I need to head out there with the old iPhone 13 and get my little gimbal out, right, where be the little camera holder that is self-writing. It makes everything level and all that, so it won't look like somebody
really? Wow.
who's freezing to death out there. It'll be like, it'll just sit there and actually work semi-professionally. We're not professionals here. We're amateurs, but we're working our way up. 39.
But capital A, with a capital A on amateurs.
Yeah. That's it. As soon as we get all caps on amateur, then we get professional with the big P, and then the rest of the professional is lowercase. So
That's a long time coming, bro. Let me tell you.
Hey, that's it. I actually do plan on having a professional sound engineer come over and try to help us out with some of the audio things we have going on. Might even like get some soundproofing in the room. Just make it a straight up like studio. So that'd be kind of cool. And it's a guy whose girlfriend I used to work with, and they're all musicians, and they know everything about sound and stuff, and it'd be pretty cool. So
that'd be good. So when you listen to AC/DC, your neighbors do too? Is that what you're saying?
No, the only place like where it actually gets loud is in the bonus room, and that's pretty well soundproof just because of the size of it. But in here, we would just want it to be really quiet so there's no ambient noise coming into the microphone.
Like dogs barking and things like that?
That is exactly right. So
I got you.
Also, just so I can continue to remain in the tomb that I'm in forever and ever. That's kind of the running joke we have at work is I just work in an abyss because on here, the background is life in general because, of course, we're trying to promote the podcast and whatnot, but at work it's just a black screen and then my head just kind of floats around because I wear black all the time. So
yeah, I bet they love that.
Oh yeah,
it's just a head floating around. Wow,
kind of like the Wizard of Oz a little bit. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, there you go.
We talked a little bit earlier about being correct, being recorded, and all this stuff. I got a very interesting text on Saturday from a number that I did not recognize. Now, it being 2021, almost 2022, that is not really something that is too surprising. Getting a phone call, getting a text, getting something from somebody that you just don't know. However, this was somebody asking me from the Democratic representative or party that is around Hendersonville and the Nashville area. They need people to run for office.
Oh.
And I'm thinking to myself, okay. And they asked me and they say, would you like to know more? Would you like more information about how to start running? And I think to myself, what is happening? Because they very, very nice text, very cordial, very polite and whatnot. And I haven't texted them back yet because I was more flabbergasted than anything. And I know a lot of times on this podcast or show specifically, I do take a more liberal stance. For one, because it's a show, right? If we just agreed and Dutch ruddered, looked that up, then it wouldn't be a show. We would just be sitting here shooting the breeze. Now, there are some episodes that are like that because that's just kind of what we do. But oftentimes, I do try to make you see a different perspective. Now, that can kind of go two ways, at least from my perspective. I'm thinking either they think I am quite the liberal ally or Democratic ally just because of the points and topics that I bring up on this show, if that's where they saw me from, which it might not be. Or they may be thinking this would be the greatest person in the world to run against because a cisgender white male or whatever, it's like, oh, that guy right there, easy peasy, because no one's ever going to vote for him in our party. And I'm thinking to myself, this is the biggest conundrum I've ever witnessed. Because in all actuality, it would be very interesting to run for office. When I told my constituents about it, see, I'm already getting the lingo down.
There you go.
They said, I could see it. And that's kind of a joke in terms of me running for anything. It would be quite the spectacle, I think, to debate folks, to go out there and shake babies and kiss hands and all that. And it would definitely be a wild... I mean, it would just be a show. Like, that would be the next sitcom that would be out there, or the next reality show is watch Tweedle Dumbass run his name and show into the ground and all that stuff by trying to be in the political theater. So
I'm going to be on. I'm going to come up there and have a shirt on that says "Shit Show Supervisor." You know?
There you go. Well, and that's what it would be called, right? We would just call it Shit Show Season 1, and it would just.
You might be very good at that. You might be very good at that. The public needs someone that's smart and young and has a fresh perspective on things.
I was going to say, but you're lying immediately. I'm not young. I'm not smart. There's nothing.
That's what politicians do, is lie all the time. I've told you that 100 times.
Maybe, just maybe.
You couldn't be a politician because you can't tell a lie. I know that about you. Okay, all righty. How about that?
I was going to say, you're throwing me under the bus here, there, bud.
Your constituents are watching you.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, our last video had 60-something views, so that's like, right. Yeah, people are watching. They got the magnifying glass out and all that. So.
Longer than 15 minutes.
What's that?
Watching longer than 15 minutes.
That's the big thing, right? Is viewer retention. You do things not to get people to click, but it's to get people to stay around. And speaking of clicking, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the podcast there. Smash the bell, tickle the like button. Yeah, give us all the support we can possibly get. That's because remember, your liking, commenting, and subscribing is free.
Oh, shucks, really?
And it's the season of giving.
If you want to know what it takes to run for office, you could go to the election commission and just ask them what the qualifications are for a particular office. Yeah.
Well, this person straight up said, go give me all the information I would ever want. And I think to myself, either they're a genius because they know that I would be somebody easily beat, or they're insane because if they would, want me to run for just any office, hell, it doesn't even matter if it would be Democrat, Republican, Independent, whatever, they would, like my first debate or first little thing, they would say, oh my God, what have we done? We made a big mistake.
Do you remember talking about getting the campaign funds and money for the campaign and how that works? And you might be privy to some extracurricular activities or campaign profits from
I thought you were saying this like I knew about it, and then did I remember talking about it?
No, you said you wanted to be somebody's campaign manager, so
I said if I was, then we'd be in business, because it's like, oh, oops, you didn't win, but
shucks,
oops, we just signed this check, it's all good.
Yeah,
because even if you don't win, to my knowledge, you're still getting paid for something.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Paid for services rendered. And speaking for paying for things, another thing I wanted to talk about here real quick was your boy got boosted, and it was fine. Nothing.
What was that?
Nothing crazy. The booster shot.
Oh, okay. Boosted. Okay.
Yes, indeed. Like
jabbed again. Okay.
That's it. So yeah, this is shot number 3, all Pfizer, and it was something where people super nice. I thought it was strange where they asked for my insurance information, but in the end they didn't need it. Like they didn't. It's on the form, but I didn't fill that part out, and they didn't ever ask for it. So I thought that was kind of strange. It's like, if it's free and the government's giving it out, what are you doing?
Right. It's funny. On Pat's trip up there, they change the rules as they go along because they're assholes, and they just make this stuff up as they go along. The government, of course, and the CDC, who can believe those guys? It used to be 72 hours prior to departure. Yeah. Now it's 24 hours. They've changed it where you have to have a negative COVID test 24 hours prior to departure. And that's a little tight.
That is very snug. I'm not gonna lie.
Especially if they're not testing you at the airport. And down here in Ecuador, I don't think they're set up for that. But she's going to go tomorrow and get her test and then leave Wednesday. So, there you go.
That's pretty freaking wild. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I mean, 24 hours. That's a little much. I mean, 2 days seems somewhat bearable.
And
but
they change that with the stroke of a pen. That's what's so crappy about it is they change it with the stroke of a pen. Just boom, just like that, and you have to comply or don't fly. I mean, it's just like that, man. So, there's not much she can do about it. But anyway, I thought that's pretty crappy. After the first of the year, I'm going to have a buddy of mine on that works for American Airlines. He's pretty way up the food chain, and he's been there probably 28 or 30 years. And I'm going to ask him about some of that shit, man. Changing. Departure times and arrival times, and changing your seats, and adding and subtracting and mask, and how come they only give you one pretzel and a 8-ounce bottle of water now, and all that kind of stuff. Why are people beating up the flight attendants? Things like that.
Well, I mean, verbally, you're a master of kung fu, right? Because there are a lot of times on this podcast, like, wah, so that's just kind of how people are. But with the restrictions and with the laws and with the mandates and all that stuff, I mean, we've talked about that briefly, where they can change it at the whim and the ease of a pen because information travels so fast now.
Yeah, because of the internet. You're right. You're exactly right. Pretty crazy.
It is a little different. And this third shot, I mean, nothing to it. Arm was a little sore, but it's not like I was under the weather or whatever. It was very much like Dave Chappelle, not a booger, not a cough, not anything. So just nothing.
Okay. That's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, and it's, they're very fast and it's very quick, and you just do your thing. And I mean, like, if they have to do another one, that's when I'm going to start saying, okay, look, like, I don't do the flu shot even, but I do want folks around me to feel and be healthy and whatnot and be safe and blah, blah, blah. So if it takes me getting 2 or 3 injections because of this, that, and the other, fine. But I am very much opposed to the scenario of, well, now this is just like the flu shot. And I'm thinking, I'll take my chances then. If it's, after the third one in a year and a half, like, come on, people.
Right.
Because I don't mind getting jabbed, like, that's fine. I mean, I've given blood, and those needles are ridiculous, the size of a freaking McDonald's straw or something. Like, just relax and squeeze this ball, like, and that's fine. And
this fire hose to your
yeah, exactly. And this little thing's going bloop, 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 just sucking your blood out. And the first time, giving blood, I almost passed out because I was like, I just won't eat anything for a while because that's the smartest thing to do. No.
Yeah, let me give you some cookies and some Kool-Aid or something.
Yes, the beverage that they gave me was a Coca-Cola because your body wants that sugar. So
there you go. You see where Coca-Cola had a recall on some of their canned drinks?
I did not. That sounds kind of wild.
It's like Coca-Cola and Sprite in a can or something. Got metal shavings in it or something. They said throw them all away immediately. But it was just the canned drinks, from what I read. Yeah.
Well, that's that's your boy's drink of choice. There is just a canned beverage because it holds its integrity the longest, right? Because there's no exposure to light. It's airtight and all that. But that'd be pretty interesting. Well, speaking of people recalling things, have you heard of the Kellogg's boycott?
I have not.
So, from what I understand,
I heard they were on strike.
See, that's the deal. They had several folks who from different, I think it's different factories. It might be the same one, but I think there are many where they were striking. You're correct. Mm-hmm. And then Kellogg says, perfect. We're just going to replace you all because we're a corporation and we don't care. And people now are like,
Oops.
Okay. If that's the case, then we're just not going to buy your shit. We're just going to straight up boycott you. And it's something I've seen on, this is your weekly Reddit hour. People online were like, I don't buy their shit anyway, so let's boycott because I don't have to do anything different. But they're replacing like 1,400 workers. So they're boycotting their products for one, not buying it, right?
Right.
They also had something where this was incredible, and it just shows you the power of people. They said, of course, every application that you will ever submit anymore, like 99% of the time, will be online, right?
Okay.
Kellogg's website, based on these Redditors, got crashed because so many people were putting in false applications. Site goes down.
Wow. Hey, that's something.
That was incredible. And it just goes to show you people have power. They don't always either remember they have it, or they sometimes will have a hard time structuring that power, but it is something where an individual and then many individuals actually do have power to do things and to make change and to stand up to the, I don't want to say oppressors, because it's not like Kellogg's in this case is oppressing people from every perspective, but it's something where this is going to kind of stink. And somebody sent me an email recently saying that Kellogg's is about to have, like, they're about to have a new product with Kellogg's, a cereal. And I thought to myself, ugh, because their new cereal ain't going to sell for shit if so many people are saying, nah, I ain't buying from y'all.
Right.
And that to me just is incredible, because it's going to show that, like, their potential product is going to do poorly if things continue this way, because it's like, oh, nobody's buying this. The product must be bad. And granted, it may not be, but the sales number seems like they'll be skewed. So,
right. Wow. They'll have to put the Kellogg real small on the back of the box or something.
That's exactly right. So that they'll have to put it in put it in binary or something, where it's like, well, it's clearly on the box, and they're like, what are all these numbers here? You know, or put it in Braille or some shit like that.
I read a little while ago on a news feed that Central Truck Lines was closing, and it's the largest truck line to close since Celadon in 2019.
Oh,
they're a Texas-based truck line. They're fixing to put 2,100 workers out of a job a week before Christmas.
Why are they doing that? Did they say why?
I didn't get into the whole article. I was just reading the headlines on it. And
well, we need a little more than that. You can't just be like, yeah, this thing's closing and we don't know why.
No, they can look. People that are interested can look it up. Truck drivers, if you truck drivers are out there and want to look up why Central is closing, so they got a truck driver shortage. So now there'll be some more people to drive and stuff. So, yeah.
Well, that's one thing too, is I've seen recently where the Great Resignation is not going to necessarily benefit those who stopped working and are doing whatever. I mean, they could be living off unemployment. They could be have invested some money that they got from the government or whatever, or using retirement savings early or blah, 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 whatever. Because, and it might be bad, because they are forcing the change in technology and automation too quickly. What that means, of course, is people are they are and have complained for a minute, which to their degree, I agree with them, is being paid a livable wage, right? Well, at a McDonald's or a Burger King or even a superstore, like a grocery store or something like that, I mean, there's self-automated checkouts and everything. And it's something where that's my method normally, is trying to interact with people as little as possible. So, I mean, could you imagine walking into a store and there's like 3 people working where there used to be like 40?
It's probably coming.
Oh, I guarantee you it is.
Yeah. I'm not doing a self-checkout. I'm not going to do it. I'm just not.
You being like Bill Burr, where there's a self-checkout line and he's
going to help me, and I'm going to talk to him, and that's just like, I'm not going to check the stuff out myself.
Well, eventually what's going to happen...
They're standing over there watching you anyway. So if you're going to stand there, get your ass over here and check this out, man. I'm just not going to do it.
Well, eventually I
don't trust the automation.
What?
I don't trust the automation. I don't care how good the technology is. I don't trust it. I want somebody to... I want them to go across, then I want to stand there and watch them ring each item up. Not that I would cheat anybody or myself.
Sit there and just watch them work for it, like
yes,
silliness.
Because they jack the prices up and they make me pay. So yes, I want to see what I'm getting for my money.
Yes, but that grocer or that cashier or clerk, they're not the one who raised your prices.
I always have fun with them. Did you know that they control the temperature at every Walmart from Bentonville, Arkansas?
Right.
Did you know
just like
that?
They do that with the Apple stores. Same deal.
Because I went in there one day, man, and I was burning up. I was dripping sweat when I got to the front. And I go in with a list on a mission. But I got to the front and I said, damn, lady, I told her. I said, this place is burning up. I'm sorry, sir. They control that temperature in Bentonville, Arkansas. We don't have anything to do with that. And I'm like, yeah, okay. God bless you. Check my stuff out and let me get the hell out of here. that and the fact that wearing the mask inside, doesn't help either when you're trying to.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so maybe that's what it was.
Yes, it was the mask, and I didn't want to wear it, and it got hot. So.
My face is a lot hotter than normal. It's so hot in here.
I was sweating.
Well, the Dardens are sweaters. I mean, that's just
we are. Don't make me open a roll of paper towels and start using them. So.
Wipe
my face.
That's it.
That's right. That's exactly right.
That is kind of crazy. One of the things you wanted to talk about tonight, which is pretty interesting, and it might be the last segment we do, because depending on how in depth we get, which sounds pretty wild, but I don't disagree with it, is a 10-step plan to destroy good old America.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about what that is.
I saw this, hat tip to Bongino. I saw this on his website, and he went on his podcast, and he went into it a lot more detailed than I will, strictly for time purposes. But I thought it was very interesting the way he mapped it out. There's 10 steps to destroy a 10-step plan to destroy America from within. And it just, he showed everything that was going on right now that we are doing to destroy America. Either we're doing it to ourselves, we're going along with it, or it's being done to us.
Oh, okay.
All of that plays into it. And the first thing was to sow racial discord.
Okay. Like
that's that's the very first thing, is to promote racism. So you got your critical race theory, your CRT, and they're promoting that and trying to be divisive or divisive, however you say that. They're trying to split everybody, and they're trying to judge people by the color of their skin, and teach our children to do that. And it's just not. It's not right. It's not right. But that's step one. Step two was to debase the currency. So the prices go up, and it's a redistribution scheme, basically. It's because they just print more money. They print more money, and you got more money going after less products, so the price of the products go up. So they're trying to debase the currency through inflation, basically. Okay. Number three was, and I thought this was fairly interesting. I didn't notice this, but number three is destroy masculinity. Okay, you've got guys out there that are at war, men that are at war, and women that are at war, that are shooting bullets down range all the time. But right now that there is a war on boys. There's actually a book a lady wrote. It's called War on Boys, and they're trying to basically destroy the next generation.
How are they trying to destroy the next generation? By just aiming at boys?
Well, boys' behaviors. The boys are a little more rambunctious. They're a little more out there. They're thinking about things. They've got things going on, and they're physical and they're mental and all this. And girls have actually become the gold standard of behavior. And it used to be that a lot of the colleges and schools wanted boys, and now a lot of them don't want as many males because it's just a thing. They're just trying to destroy the masculinity of the boys.
Well, so one thing that seems kind of interesting there is when you're saying masculinity, it kind of seems like there is a correlation between boys and energy and creativity, which isn't obviously just linked or correlated directly with boys, but
right.
The education system, as we know it, was made to generate good factory workers and good followers.
Correct.
It's not made for, much
intellectuals or entrepreneurs.
To a degree, yes. I would say to a degree that is very accurate. So, and it's like, hey, certain people can sit down and shut up and study and listen and fall in line, and then some people are just like they're little tops, right? You just rile them up and they're ready to go. So I could see that, and I've heard about that a little bit.
Well, and number 4 is destroy its intellectual capital. And what that means is the remote learning failed. Keeping the kids out of school, the test results really suck. And keeping the kids out of face-to-face learning and stuff, they're completing their mission by keeping the kids out of school. Again, destroying the next generation because the remote learning is just not working.
So we at least in that scenario, it really means we're trying to make the next generation dumber to a degree.
Yes. Number 5 was silence the opposition. Okay, that's like your platforms. You know, they canceled a sitting president. Canceled him off of whatever it was, Twitter or tweet or whatever social media it was that just took him completely off.
Yeah, I think it was Twitter. They just
how do you get away with that shit, man? You know what I mean? How do you? There's got to be more to it than for you to be able to shut down a president of the United States where he can't communicate with anybody on that platform or that social media. So they're trying to silence the opposition. And anytime you disagree with them, then you're the bad guy, you know, and they try to shut you down. Number 6 was lose the technology race. China will soon be leading the U.S. in technology, you know, because all the stuff that you buy technologically comes from China, right? Wouldn't you agree? I mean, they're way ahead of us on the technology race, and they'll soon surpass us in that kind of deal. Number 7 was they're trying to bankrupt. They're going to bankrupt itself. They're going to bankrupt the government because the $6 trillion blow back better plan or blow me better plan that they're trying to do for America is going to bankrupt America. We can't stand $6 trillion more of debt when the debt's already $22 or $23 trillion. We just can't stand it, man. We can't. Our budget, America's budget, can't handle that. It can't handle it. The number 8 was the next generation hates this country. That goes back to your war on masculinity and your war on boys. And who was going to defend a country that they hate? So next thing you know, militarily, you're not as sound as you were, or you're not as up to speed, or you're not at the level of superiority that you were, because who's going to defend a country they hate? And they're teaching our children to hate America in the schools. They are. They're teaching them to. And then when the parents say something about it, then you're a homophobe, or you're a racist, or a xenophobe, or you're a terrorist, or whatever they want to call you, whatever they're going to label you when you stand up against them. number 9 is make the streets unsafe. Well, we already know how that's working. Homicides are up, 121% or something crazy number like that over last year, just where people are just doing whatever they want to do, killing each other, stealing, and all that kind of stuff. And number 10 was open your borders. A country without borders is just a suggestion. And that's what they've done. They've basically opened the border. There's no border. There's no border anymore. There's not a border. And just to show you what a small world it is, I'm standing on the street down here in South America, in Ecuador.
Yeah.
And the guy heard me talking to Patricia in English. And so he came up and he said, where are you from? And I said, I'm from Tennessee. And he said, well, I'm from New York. He said, I was actually born in Greece and I grew up kind of in New York. Okay. And he said, I have a business in Guayaquil. And so we started talking. And man, this guy, he said, do you believe how out of control shit is in New York? I mean, he was emphatic about how crazy and how ridiculous things are in New York City. And he said, did you see the guy going down the street and just smack the elderly woman and knock her completely out? This was probably 3 or 4 months ago.
Sure.
But it was a news story.
Oh, and I said, there was a time people were, just going nuts in terms
and just knocking each other out, especially like Asian people when the virus first started, or the Asians, they were picking on them because they thought it was, their fault, basically. Correct. which is really stupid. Because we know that Dr. Fauci, the lawn gnome, we know that he's such an idiot and everybody believes him, but he started all of this shit. So go ahead.
So
that's my 10-step plan though. So
that's my 10-step plan and I'm sticking to it.
That's my 10-step, that's my step 10 plan.
Give me 10 steps. Give me 10 steps, mister.
Give me 3 steps. Yeah. Give me 3 steps, mister, towards the door.
Some people could argue that the reason Asians were being targeted is because a very interesting person said, China, it comes from China. And it's a scenario where...
That's pretty good, man. Yeah. Can you get a better comb over?
Yeah.
and put some orange shit on your face?
Yeah. You are fake news. So, people in that case... Right? They shut somebody down from Twitter because things like that could potentially happen.
Okay. Did you see where Facebook was on Capitol Hill and they finally admitted that they're not fact checkers?
Sure.
They're not fact checkers. They're opinion checkers. And if they don't, they admitted it to the Department of Justice or whoever they were in front of, Congress or whoever. They said, they're not really fact checkers now. They've got somebody outside of Facebook doing it, so they couldn't blame Facebook. They got somebody outside of them doing it.
Yeah,
and they said, well, they're not really
subsidiary.
They're not really fact checkers. They're more of opinion checkers. Okay, well, that's how you get out of a libel or slander lawsuit.
Correct.
Right, because an opinion, you're not liable for your opinion because everybody has one. But the fact checkers, the fact checking can get your ass sued. And that's what had happened was they got sued and the lawyers are going, wait. People from Facebook, no. Well, they're not really fact checkers. Oh, that's what you've told us all this time.
Yeah. Okay.
That they're fact checkers.
Well,
yeah.
and it's something where when people are saying you're spreading misinformation, how do they know that? If it's all opinions.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Which is kind of interesting to think about.
They back themselves into a corner because they're a bunch of lying assholes. That's all there is to it.
Well, I would say
you don't have to disclaim that. Yeah. You don't have to put a disclaimer on that because I'll say it again and again. Because they're all liars, man. All the information that everybody's getting, it's all a lie. It's all a lie. And the smartest thing that I heard somebody say was, when anybody tells you something, wait 72 hours. Don't take it for, at face value right then and react.
Okay.
Wait 72 hours for it to be verified or debunked and see what happens after 72 hours, because you had Jesse Smollett. Everybody jumped on that bandwagon. He's a lying piece.
That's Juicy Smollett.
He's a piece of shit. You had the guy that had the hangman's noose in the NASCAR garage, which that was a bunch of bullshit too. And you had the Russian disinformation or the dossier or all of this shit that everybody jumped on right away. And it's all a lie. It's all a lie. And if they'd have waited and let that shit play out, then they probably wouldn't have the problems they have.
It's more for the story. It's all about piling up negativity everywhere, right? And
did any of those people that jumped on the juicy train apologize? No. They all jumped on it. The minute it came out, they jumped on it with both feet, man, and said, "Let's ride this train." Oh, that's sad. That's a hate crime. No, he's a liar.
Well,
he's a liar, and
they'll never have to
prison.
Apologize for that.
They should have shot him on the street when they had the chance.
I don't understand, but they'll never have to apologize for that sort of thing.
Check that. No, that's just my opinion.
Wonderful. The point being is they'll never have to apologize because they can always say they were fighting against one of this country's most or largest problems, which is racism. And then everyone's going to get a free pass.
Two white guys with mega hats in Chicago out on the street at 2:00 in the morning. They're going to get shot anyway. How ridiculous is that? You got mugged by two guys. No, those two guys probably didn't make it a half a block and they were gunned down in Chicago where Beetlejuice is the mayor. Come on, man. You like that one?
So it's something where people are going to defend their own. Like that's just going to happen. And you can't really blame them. And like by that, I mean like just people in general. Because
Yes, I can.
Here's the deal. You would go along with that story and defend me if it was me and you are you. Like that's just how it would be.
When all the facts came out.
No, not for a second. You'd be like, I'm going to believe this guy and stand behind him and yada, yada. So
I'm sure his mom and dad did believe him probably.
Well, it's something where I'm sure my friends and family and everybody would come out and support me. But now granted, was it wild and I think he was found guilty of whatever the charges were, but
yes, he was.
But it's something that
he's a liar.
Well, hey, we're all liars, so.
Well, to a certain extent, I'm sure. Yeah.
You're right. Yeah. To a degree, we're all spreading some amount of misinformation.
To a degree,
yeah. We can neither affirm nor deny on the Life in General podcast that all this information is in fact true and or not true in perpetuity.
To the best of our ability.
That's it. Yeah. Those are some wild points. I'll try to get something in here where when you bring those up, I can show them on the screen because I wrote them down as you said them to kind of get some people can look at it and say, oh, okay, yeah, that's that. Because I can see some of these things happening. Some of this has been happening for a long time. But some of it just kind of seems
it's going to take years.
Well, it's going to take like it's going
10 to 15 years.
Very much a provocateur, right?
Right.
So.
Yes. If they want a really good explanation or an in-depth explanation, they can go to Dan Bongino's podcast, and it's episode 1663.
Good Lord. Could you imagine us having 1,600 of these?
No, I can't. God. But he's been doing it for about 7 or 8 years, I think he said. So, wow. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, just keep it up, and then we'll be on episode 1,000 before you know it. We'll have every weekday.
And I listened to him because he was he worked for the Secret Service. And he also was a New York City police officer. So that's why I listened to him, because he's got the insight of several different things. And he produces the receipts. I mean, he's got the information to back up whatever he tells you. You know, if he tells you that the sun is out, you know, you ain't got to go to the window and look. He's going to tell you why, show you why that it's out, because he's down in Florida.
But so that right there is an issue. And the reason why I say that is because what you have done is you have put total faith in this person. Okay. And then just what you said, and this is going by literally just what happened, is I don't have to verify anything myself because you trust him enough that he's going to present correct information. Does that make sense?
I haven't found anything that he's said so far as incorrect.
And that's fair.
I've researched several things that he said, because some of them were pretty crazy, but they were crazy because that's the stuff that was really happening. So,
and that's very well and good, but like we've said before, and we'll tout it forever, is fact check people. I mean, get your own facts, do your own research.
Are you fact checking, or it's just your opinion?
In what instance are you talking about?
In any of them, whatever you're checking.
Well, that's the point, right? Is make sure your your sources are good and things are good to go.
Right.
I forget who I was talking to or what I was listening to. It was pretty dang interesting in terms of someone was talking about like peer-reviewed journals. Have you ever read one of those? Mm-hmm. Your brother would know all about them. But one of the things is things that have been coming out recently and in the past are things where you put your source, right? You put your footnote, you put your source in the back and your bibliography and whatnot. But people, if it's written well enough, people don't have time to go and look through all of your sources.
Right.
So it could be a scenario where you're just bullshitting, but you bullshitted really well. And a lot of these old school or either recent old school articles or previous articles or notations that you're going and getting could just be awful. And one thing that is hilarious to me is you'll have certain footnotes and stuff that are from folks who got that footnote from somewhere else, who got that footnote somewhere else. And then by the time you get it, it's just a diluted mess and doesn't even mean the same thing anymore.
Right.
Because it's all a matter of interpretation and whatnot. And some of this information could be so old that it just doesn't make any sense.
Well, it could be. Could be.
But I just thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah. I thought it was too, because I thought he was spot on everything that's going on right now. It's all happening. And we're going to implode if we keep going like we are and letting the government get away with the shit they're doing right now, man. Somebody's got to do something.
It seems as though they're testing, like the billionaires right now are testing out rockets because they're going to go live on Elysium, where
they were talking
have a moon base or a Mars base.
You brought up the billionaires. They were talking the other day, and they said, there's so many billionaires in the world. They said you could take every dollar from every billionaire on the planet, and it wouldn't even touch a third, or it wouldn't even touch 25% of the national debt. You could take every dollar from every billionaire. Our national debt's like $22 trillion. And if you took all the money, it wouldn't even be 25% of what that is. How does it get like that? How does it?
Because we just
get
spend
like that?
and sell bonds and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, we got people to pay back, but it is what it is. And
why don't you run for office?
Because your boy doesn't know enough to make that big of a difference, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yes, you do. Don't underestimate yourself. Yes, you do.
Well, it's a scenario where you ask, okay, how would you reduce debt? And I'm thinking, I don't know, spend less, make more, right? It would be very basic principles, but that's just
basic principles is what we need.
Well,
that's what we need right now is basic principles.
I don't know if I'm prone to corruption or not. I haven't been able to figure that out yet. So, like, principles might go out the window real fast if the offer's good enough. So,
no scruples or morals or any of that stuff,
that's
right?
Yeah. Well, and like we talked about,
there's money involved. Yeah.
Well, like we talked about, not last time, but maybe the time before was, or actually, it might have even been the time before that. It might have been episode 29. It may have been 30, but people right now, a very select few, like the folks who are doing the Santa's Forgotten Heroes and stuff like that, like they are the exception. But a lot of the times, people aren't looking to solve the world issues. Like, they're not looking to help others. They're looking to make enough money to where the problems of the world no longer affect them, and then they're good to go. Like, they're fine.
Right.
I actually have a really good buddy who that's his goal in life, and he and his girlfriend are just, yeah, that's all I want to do. Screw them. It's all good. Do we have enough money? Okay, cool. We got a problem. Throw money at it. Like, it's just kind of wild.
Well, that's one way to look at it.
Well, and it's something where in the end, if they're doing the dual income, no kids thing, which seems to be a way a lot of us younger folks are going now, or maybe single income, it's something where I remember a wise individual telling me once that they could not fathom bringing a kid into this screwed up world whenever I would talk to them about children. So it's like, maybe they were right. Maybe I'll just end this generational line here.
I don't know who that was.
Yeah, I don't know. So, kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's a crazy world. It's a crazy world, but
honestly, it's something where the world's always been this crazy, but you just didn't know about it as much.
Right.
Information just goes like.
What was really interesting was when I drove a truck over the road is traveling. I've been to all 48 states and been to Canada 3 times and Mexico twice. And it's like, or Mexico 3 times, Canada twice. Either way, it doesn't matter because there's no borders now. So people talking to people along the road in different states and different cities across the United States, they didn't have a clue what was going on in the next county, much less the next state. As long as it didn't bother them and they had their blinders on and it didn't upset their apple cart or come to their kitchen table, they didn't care. They didn't care and they didn't know. So they were just going along to get along. And I found that to be I found it interesting and amazing at the same time that people wouldn't give a damn what was going on in the next county or still within their state, but the next county over or the next state over that that things were going on. So that could impact them. I'm not talking about just everyday living. I'm talking about things, like a building of highways or building of bridges or building an interstate through the city or something. Or mass destruction of a tornado or something. And most people are like, what? Well, yeah, we're okay. No, man, it doesn't work that way. You need to be aware of what's going on around you and the world around you and what's going on every day and the ships that are backed up out into the ocean. And, as long as I can get my Christmas presents for my people and as long as I can get my turkey for my Christmas dinner, I'm good. I don't care if anybody else gets their stuff as long as I get mine. That's a load of shit right there, man. But it's every day. I found that over the years, it got to be every man for himself. And that's what it is now. And I don't mean that, it's every person for themselves. It's every man and woman, every person for themselves now. They just, as long as I get mine, I don't care if you get yours. Well, and that's really a crappy attitude. But
think about it like this for a minute, where
dig yourself out of that hole.
It's almost been structured to be that way because if everyone's against each other, they can't fight very well against the real things that matter.
Oh yeah, there you go with your racial division. And dividing the country, and homophobe and xenophobe and terrorist and all that shit. Yeah. It's ridiculous, man.
Yeah, and it's something that if people are divided and fighting amongst each other, they'll never see the forest from the trees because they can't move forward. Something that I really enjoy from our leadership team at work is a phrase to be outcome focused. All right, don't point fingers, don't lay blame. Doesn't matter. Fix the problem and move on. It's a very pragmatic way of looking at things, and I enjoy that very much. I am very much cool. Are you going to fix it or are you going to bitch about it? Right? Like, fix it and move on, because many things are fixable. It just takes some discipline and some motivation and some willpower and some strength of mind and courage to be able to fix the problems that you have and that also others have around you if you want. And it actually is a pretty good feeling when you're able to do it, but people just oftentimes don't. So
right. Makes sense. That's a good way of looking at it. Yeah. I don't have any problems myself.
Well, I mean, that's what happens when you retire. They all and just disappear forever, right? So
it's funny. I asked somebody last night. I was sitting at a table with these people from Canada, and I asked them. I said, "What do you like most about being retired?" And the lady said, I get to do what I want to do when I want to do it. Like she said, if I want to stay in the kitchen and bake all day, I can bake all day. Or if I want to work in my garden outside, I can work in the garden outside, And then I asked her husband, and he said, I'm not retired yet. So he didn't get to answer. Yeah. And she asked me, she said, well, what do you like most about being retired? And I said, what I like most about being retired is not having to answer to anyone. I worked for someone all of my life, except for when I had the lawn care business and was self-employed. And I've always worked for somebody else. And I said, the best thing about being retired is not having to answer to anybody and not give a shit what you say, because I don't care. If you like it, that's fine. If you don't like it, I don't care. That's the best thing about being retired, is not having to answer to anybody or please anybody or any of that kind of stuff that goes along with getting up and doing the 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, and trying to be nice to people and nice to other people in the office or nice to people on the road if you're driving and all that kind of stuff. You ain't got to be nice to anybody anymore.
So something
you don't have to answer to anybody anymore.
That's fair. And something I find interesting about that point, and I do think it's a good point, is you kind of downtrodden a few folks about being lazy and not wanting to work. That is one of the reasons they don't want to, is because they have to please somebody. They got to get up and do the monotonous thing. They got to do all that stuff. So why are you giving them a hard time when you're as happy as a clam by being out of it?
You don't get nothing. The government doesn't take care of your ass because you don't work. The government doesn't get to, they don't get to sponge off the government and be a bum. I'm not sponging off the government. No. I paid this money in.
Yeah, but the money
they're giving, that's my money. They gave that money. They're giving my money back to me. You're working, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you're working, and I appreciate
$3 meals
that.
On me. That's it.
Yeah, they took my money and used it, but I'm not sponging off the government. That's my money that I've been putting in that account for the last 52 years. So no, I've worked and got where I have what I have because I've worked. They don't want to work, then you go live in a cardboard box under a bridge. We're not taking care of your ass.
Okay, but the point being,
no, there's no but to that. There's no but.
There is, because if you're just looking at it from the perspective of I worked, so I get to enjoy that sort of thing, I'm trying to say you're getting mad at them for wanting the same thing, just wanting it from a different way.
I'm not mad. Well, they can want it. They can want. That's fine.
So to that degree, wouldn't it be better
for anything, but they can want. I don't want for anything. They can want. I don't want or need anything
because you have that opportunity. A lot of people don't, and they know the system is kind of crappy, and they don't want to be a part of that system. But life is about money, right? And And here's the deal. I say that knowing people will say, well, that's not true. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, live without it then.
Everything's based around money.
And that's awful.
Everything's based around
absolutely awful, right?
Right.
So to that end, and we'll end on this because money is a great evil, but we have made it like almost like a godlike figure in our societies because it is the thing that allows us to function.
Right. Mo money without using your money.
I was going to say mo money, mo problems. But
yes, that's correct.
All right.
That is correct.
Yeah, that's kind of wild. Is there anything else you want to talk about there, good sir?
Oh, there's a whole bunch of stuff, but we don't have time.
Well, then tune in next time. Thank you all.
Yeah, tune in next week at the same time.
Yeah, that's it. Same bat time, same bat channel for more shenanigans. That's for dang sure. So thank you all so very much for watching the Life in General podcast here with Tom and Jaye. This has been episode 33. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Tell us down below whether or not you agree. Is money one of the greatest evils the world's ever known, or is it something that is just a necessary evil that we have to deal with? So we'll catch y'all next time.
All right. See you.